No intro. Hey
Yeah.
guys, what's up? Welcome to Shut up, man. Welcome to the Laser Source podcast, the number one podcast. If you like getting to know our sponsor, Johnson Plastics Plus. Yeah, this episode, like all of the others, is brought to you by Johnson Plastics Plus. But we actually have somebody from the
Woohoo.
company here today. It's Aaron Stout. What's up, Aaron? How you doing, man?
Not bad. Not bad. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're good, dude. I'm
Yeah.
super good. I
Yeah.
maybe
Nice.
Kyle is not super good. Matt's good. I can see a
I haven't been
smile.
good since 1998, but keep going.
We brought Aaron on to talk to us about a whole bunch of things. We're going to talk about his past in the embroidery industry. Is that right?
Yep.
And his
Really
present at
interesting
Johnson
topic.
Plastics Plus, and we'll probably talk about the future too. So I'm really excited to have you, man.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here, man. You guys do a great job, and it's always nice to talk to people about going through going through some of the stuff that I went through in the past, and it's pretty cool to be on here. So
Yeah, that's the first thing I want to talk about because when Jackie said that you were subbing in for Seth and you had this background in embroidery, I was like, I know nothing about that. So, like, what did you like? What did you do? What did you do in that industry? I literally have no background. I've done zero
nice.
research. I want to hear it from you.
So I originally my first thing into garment decoration was actually screen printing, and then I got into the embroidery through that. So, um, long story short, the company I worked for needed an embroider. Went out on my own, got an embroidery machine. Instantly had a client, a customer, big customer, and yeah, basically just I I can't sew a button on a shirt, but I can do designs. So that's kind of people would come in and say, "Hey guys, zipper's broke on my coat. Can I fix it?" I'm like, "No," but if you want a design on the back, I can throw that on there. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. Are
yeah.
the
So
am I thinking of the right thing where it's like just a huge rack machine with all the different colored like threads on it and it like yeah, they
yep.
look so complicated. Is it deceptively scary or is it really like a giant mess?
No, no, it's not too bad. Once you learn it, it's not too bad. Like when I first started, I was pretty intimidated, and so if you see them now, if you I don't know if you guys go to trade shows and stuff, but if you see them now, they have like 16 colors, they have 16 needles, they have 9 needles, 6 needle, whatever. Well, my very first embroidery machine was a four-head single needle. So every single time there was a color change, I had to manually change the colors. So
Mm,
like right now, it does it automatically. So I had to go through and cut the back, tie it off, pull it through the machine, and then rethread the needle every time.
wow.
I, I I could thread a needle like you wouldn't believe, but
I
like
bet.
yeah. So like if it had 21 color changes in it, you were threading that needle 21 times. So
Right.
it was crazy. But then I upgraded to a newer model, and yeah, and it's based off of you know. It, the complicated part on embroidery is basically the digitizing. Digitizing is what makes or breaks the embroidery. So,
Right. And you were you working like with customers or like businesses? Like what where did you kind of put your focus?
it was customers and contract work. So I worked with other. Actually, I had two or three screen printers that I did embroidery for at the time. Some people that I knew, where I came from, and then around like I'm from a small town. It's about 2,000 people. So started with the local schools and just kind of built from there and branched off to other schools and started just growing from there. So yeah.
So how'd you end up all the way over at Johnson Plastics Plus? Because that seems like a big jump.
Uh, so it's actually, and I told him this story when I interviewed for the job. So when I first got my laser, um, I wanted to do an open house, and um, I ordered some laser mag from JDS and I wanted to give away. So we're in Northern Ohio, so we have a lot of Ohio State people and Michigan fans. So
Oh, yeah.
it's always a good bet to bring in some Ohio State Michigan stuff. So
Hmm.
so did it. My plan was to go ahead and do some freebies for people to come in, see the laser work, and give them some a free magnet for the refrigerator or whatever. And JDS sent me the wrong. I shouldn't be saying JDS because they're our competitor now, but that's all right. But
Some other company.
some other company. So
The place where you
So-
decided not to work because you
Right.
thought it was better.
Right, exactly. So so they sent me the wrong stuff. So I actually called Romark and said, hey, is there any way, because it came in on a Friday and the open house was going to be on a Saturday. So I called Romark and said, hey, I ordered this stuff from JDS. They sent me the wrong stuff. Is there any way? So they said, when can you get here? And I said, I'm about 45 minutes away. And they said, head on over. We'll have some stuff ready for you. So I went over there. Yeah, so I went over there, picked it up, and I said, how much do I owe you? They said, nothing. It's on the house. Congratulations on your new laser. Walked out, and I'm like, this is a pretty cool company, and that stuck with me for the next, because I had my business for 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me. And then when I decided to kind of change directions and kind of shift on what I was doing, that was one of the first places I called. So
That's awesome. I don't want to get too sidetracked because I want to stay on that. I have more questions about your work, but
yeah.
I've always wondered: is Johnson Plastics Plus and Romark, is that one? That's the same company?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Cool. I was wondering. I've always kind of like wondered in the back of my head, like, are they just really good friends, or are they actually the same?
Yeah, so it's all under one umbrella. So
yeah, so you did that for 13 years, and then how long have you been at Johnson Plastics?
I've been here for 6, a little over
6
6 now. So yeah.
What is your actual job title? Like, what do you do there?
So I'm in the tech support side of things. So I'm the supervisor of it's called customer success team. Used to be advanced support. So basically, our day to day is we actually wear a lot of hats. We work with customers. So if they buy, we sell the Flux laser line. So I don't know if you guys have heard or seen any of the Flux lasers, but we sell that line. We sell sublimation printers. We're UV LEDs. So all of our equipment that we sell, our group will, if a customer wants to be trained on the software, trained on the equipment, trained on the technology, our group will then do that with the customer. So no charge. It's part of the sale of the equipment, and we help them out. And then we also do tech support on that too. So if they have any issues.
Yeah,
So.
you must be really well versed in a wide variety of things then, because you guys touch everything at Johnson Plastics Plus. You guys have your hands in literally like almost every single, anything that has to do with customization or design or anything like that. You guys have something available to get that kind of job done.
Yeah, we do, and it's fun, man. We have our playground's full of equipment. We can go in there and, we have sublimate, all the equipment. We train on it, and we also test it too. So
I would imagine
I'm looking at the UV DTF flatbed printer right now because like seriously, it's like so many of the products that you already have for like engraving you can do that.
Yeah,
I'd imagine that like if you sell it on the website, you've got a giant room, right, where you have access to it to like troubleshoot things and help provide support. So it's just like all there for you.
Yeah, we have a showroom that has. We don't have every piece of equipment that we sell, but we have about 80 to 90% of it. Actually, the last year and a half, we've added a ton of equipment. So we've actually overgrown our showroom. We've kind of gone into a different room, but we have a ton of equipment that but we also do a lot of demos and videos and stuff like that too that we use that equipment for as well. So
yeah, and I see everybody in chat saying, hey, hi. I can't get to every single one of you guys right now, obviously, but I did want to say hi, and also wanted to remind you guys, we're sitting here, we advertise Johnson Plastics Plus to you every single week on the podcast, and we actually have a rep from the company here right now, and not just any rep, somebody who's really knowledgeable and super experienced. So if you have any questions for Aaron while he's here with us, you're here live. Take advantage of it. Drop a question in chat for Aaron, and we'll make sure that we get to it by the end of the show. I'm
Way
sure
to
Kyle's
put me on the
keeping an
spot.
eye. Yeah, no problem. I'm sure
No
Kyle's
question.
keeping an eye,
Appreciate that.
and we can pull him up. Yeah, no problem.
No question is too hard for Aaron. That's why they sent him.
I got more questions for you too, man. I mean, there's like so much that I feel like you have going for yourself in terms of your history and your current employment. Like, do you see a lot of crossover between like the apparel industry and things that you deal with day to day at Johnson Plastics Plus now?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's growing. I think the more people that continue to I think as the smaller models and the desktop models continue to grow, the more affordable ones, I think you're starting to see a more crossover. Before it was so expensive, and a lot of people, really didn't see the crossover quite as much.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to continue to grow. I think that's going to keep just, you got these small shops that, they, I always want people to get the equipment that's more as versatile as they can be. You know, like the laser for me was I used it a lot for my embroidery, so that's how I started with the laser. So
Yeah, yeah. I see. Bunny Washer says Johnson's has a pretty good YouTube channel too. Lots of good
They
stuff.
really
I
do.
will subscribe. That's
yeah,
cool. We should grab a link to that and throw it down in the description. There's also a link. I didn't even know you guys sold lasers until like a few days ago. But you guys have like your own little Johnson Plastics Plus line of lasers going on.
yeah,
Do you want to talk about those? Because I think the audience will find those particularly interesting. Um,
yeah.
I just want to hear more about that.
Yeah, so we have it's called the brand name is Flux, and they have they're actually evolving as well. But we started out with a BMO, which was a 30 watt. It was a smaller model. I can't remember the bed size on these things,
Hmm.
but then they called a beam box, which was more like a 12 by 24 range. There was two beam boxes. There was a 40 watt and a 50 watt. Then they had what they call as a hexa, which is a 60 watt. And that was a bigger. That bed size was bigger than 12 by 24, but I don't remember what the size of that.
Sure.
And now they just came out with a Beambox 2, which has a chuck rotary, and it's got a they bait it. They have a that way it's got uh, things where you can raise it up from the bottom. You have the chuck rotary in the bottom. You can raise it up, so that way you can start to do 40-ounce tumblers and stuff like that. That's what their main focus was, and the tapered item or the tapered drinkware and stuff as well. So the Flux, the Beambox 2 is a really, really nice machine, and the price point on it's pretty good too. So
One of the things that I've been wanting to ask you is when you guys mention something on like the Johnson Plastics Plus website that's listed as like laser compatible, right? You have like that little laser
mhm.
symbol on there. Is that like usually specifically in regards to CO2? Do you guys test them on like a range of wavelengths, or what exactly is that denoting?
So at the beginning, and well, actually, all the stuff that you see with the laser icon is actually CO2 laser.
Okay.
We started this past year, a little bit longer than that now. If you see on some of them, we have a diode icon as well.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
but the diode's a little bit more complex because, as you guys know, the material might be okay, but if it has a white core, it's going to have trouble cutting through it. So
Right.
it's a little bit more complex, and just the black and white of it will work or won't work. So we're going down that rabbit hole a little bit with trying to get more information out on the diode laser end of things.
Yeah, I mean, we've got like a ton of data here about like galvo lasers too. There's a ton of materials that you guys offer that we use every day on machines like UV lasers and fiber lasers that are 100% compatible, but it's not really addressed on the website. And I wish that people had access to that information in like a more open way. Is that something you guys might be looking at down the road?
For sure, and that's something I can get Jackie in touch with you with
Yeah, Jackie
to talk
can.
about.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
because
I'd love to
yeah,
provide that. Yeah, I don't
okay,
know if you've seen it, but recently these guys know because I've been talking about it every single week. But like when Jackie sends me a big box of stuff,
yeah,
usually we'll like section things out by material, and I've been doing these like ultimate guide to blank, and it's like the leatherette or it's slate, or we've got one coming up that Rhiannon's working on right now. It's bamboo, and it's just
yeah,
everything bamboo. And we've been kind of like aggregating a lot of data, and I'm like, I bet like this could be useful.
It could be
This
be
is where
very
Alex
useful.
is a nerd.
Yeah, I did.
So
Yeah.
I had a question too. Like, so not only that, but like, so when you going back to your like business that you had with, fabrics and stuff like that, because there's a couple questions in chat, and usually we get to those like the halfway point. But my question was kind of like, where did you see a laser come in really handy with your business, or did you use one at all? And that's where you kind of started like adding the patches and stuff. Like, how'd that work out for you? So how could someone who's got a laser now and maybe wants to go the other way, how would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I started with the laser was for my embroidery machine. So I was jobbing out appliques for split front baseball jerseys, hockey jerseys, things like that. So so I was jobbing that out, and I went to a trade show and came across Universal Laser, and on their screen they had a hoodie or a sweatshirt that had an applique on it. So I'm like, holy crap! I said, okay. So kind of dug into it, and about 6 months later, I got my laser, and that's what I got it for. I got it to do appliques, and I cut a shit ton of applique with that thing. And the thing that it was a 30-watt laser, wasn't, but I was cutting fabric with it, so I really didn't need not until I got down the road did I start tinkering with like acrylic and woods and stuff like that. So so I went to I don't even know if they're still in business, but they sold where you could layer it and do the kiss cuts with it and set it up. So I was cutting 2-3 layers of applique, multiple colors and stuff, and just like what you see with applique with acrylics and stuff like that, I was doing it with an applique, and that's how I started. And I didn't really do any engraving probably for the first 3 years with my laser, believe it or not.
Yeah, because like you bought it to do A, and so then you're like, wait a minute, there's so many things. But like, I just want to say really quick, thank you for saying the word applique so many, because Alex, Alex already knew this was coming. If you have watched the show ever, I always bring up the fact that like with the 1/16, you can always use it like an applique, and Alex is like, stupid ass applique, you just like to say the word, and I'm like, it's a real thing.
Can we
need to make a drinking game out of it?
I don't think I'm the only one who doesn't use that word very often.
What
Can
word
we
are you talking
define
about?
that for
What
the
word is
people
it?
that are listening? Appliques, sir.
Oh,
yeah, indeed. Can we define that so that people know what we're talking about?
So I don't know where the word came from. I think did I see
French.
it on your guys' show? Yeah,
not like a dictionary, but like
Okay.
what in your use case,
Okay.
like how are we throwing that word around?
Okay, so in the embroidery world, basically when you see the sewn on letters, like a lot of sororities and fraternities back in the day was wearing the sewn on letters, the Greek letters and stuff like that, and it was so you would cut out a letter and then you would sew that, and the applique fabric is a stiff, heavy. It's almost like a canvas. It's not canvas, but it's like a canvas almost feel to it.
Right.
And then you sew that on there, and it's just
it's almost like a back panel, right? Like it's something to like attach to, and like the ornamental needlework or whatever that like it goes all together.
Yeah,
so it's like a much nicer iron-on, but with like sewing.
Yeah, and it's fabric, so it's more flexible and
right.
So going over to acrylic, which is what I've always mentioned with the 1/16, it's where like 1/8 has rigidity to it, but like 1/16 is literally like you can slap it onto, like if you bought a piece of black acrylic, you could get 1/16, and it's so thin, unless you're like got someone who's like eyeballing it right up close, they're not going to see that. It'll just look like it's part of it. And to me, that's what the applique, it means, like applied in French, if you want to look at the middle French definition.
So I love like they've even like thinner stuff too. Have you ever ordered like the Flexibrass stuff? That's wild how thin that is.
Yeah.
So and then that's where like looking at these, so if you're somebody who's thinking of doing that, what he's just talking about, because I know Laser of Love Laura said, Aaron, how do you connect embroidery to laser use? I began my creative side hustle 30 years ago with my first Genome embroidery machine, and then I've got the 15,000, but since owning it lasers the past 3+ years, like trying to figure out how to connect it. That's where saying like that's where these kind of like lasers would be great. Like they're
perfect,
cool to do. So
Yep.
which of these? Because like Alex and you were talking about, I'm literally over here just looking at all the cool stuff. Like a minute ago, like this is what I've been working with this week. Are
Yep.
the I was showing you guys these that I was making, but I got the
Yeah,
black
you love
ones.
those things.
Dude, they're money makers this time of year. Like, and even Aaron said he started off with schools. Schools they just need stuff all the time, all year round. So, but anyways, so what would be like if someone were doing that for your old business, like you were talking about? What would be a good one for them?
So, for me, I would say the Beambox would be perfect for that. The Beambox Pro. The Beambox Pro is just a 50-watt. Yep.
And what's the bed size on here?
It should say on there.
Oh yeah, wow,
Yeah.
39 inches by 27 inches.
What are we looking at, like controller and software wise?
So Flux.
LCD touch panel.
Yeah. So the only thing with the Beambox is it doesn't have an auto focus. So you got to manually turn it. It's got like a piece of acrylic that you bring down, and you can raise the bed up and down. That's the only thing that's a little different. The Hexa, the next one up from that, which is the 60-watt, that has the autofocus. But Flux has their own software. It's called Beam Studio.
Okay.
It's free. You can throw it on as many computers as you want to run the software. Very user friendly. They've got presets for acrylic, wood, fabric, anything that you need in there. But you also, if you have Lightburn, you can also use it for it also is compatible with Lightburn. I think
It is compatible with Lightburn.
I think you have to get a bridge for it with it.
Sure.
It's called Lightburn Bridge, but you can use Lightburn with it as well.
Is it a G-code machine? Do you know?
I don't
or DSP? Not off the top of your head. No worries.
Not off the top of my head. No, sorry.
That's all good. I'm just curious. I am, as Matt regularly accuses me of, being a nerd. So
I just saw that it works with Linux, so you'd be happy.
Yeah, I would. Yep, that's true.
Like open source, let's go.
Not gonna lie, the first podcast I seen of you guys, and I'm like, there's no way I can. You guys are, everything's over my head right now. So
dude, I'm over my head.
Out.
I'm constantly getting myself into trouble on this show.
Literally.
Kyle. Right, Kyle?
Oh yeah, all the time.
See, he knows. What do you see any big trends right now that are coming in through the Johnson Plastics Plus warehouse? Like, what's hot?
Discussion.
And don't say tumblers. If you say tumblers, I'm gonna end the
show. The Lone Star adhesive, the Trilayer plastic, man, the Trilayer acrylic. It's unbelievable how much that took off.
I haven't had any of that yet. Jackie, looking at you. I haven't had any of that yet. How sensitive are the first and second layers of the substrate before you get to the core? Do you have to is it like you can kind of just close your eyes and machine gun it and it comes out the way you want, or do you have to be really precise with getting that second and third layer to show the way you want?
You have to be a little precise, but not super precise, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not like it's super fine where you make a minor adjustment and you're blowing through it. I'm not the tech. I don't know the thickness of the caps, but
yeah,
it's pretty manageable. I mean,
so you have to be precise, but it's forgiving.
Yes,
there's some play. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and that's where I was going to say, if your bed's a little unlevel, the tiniest bit, are you screwed? Because that's usually what most people end up doing. They're like, I can never get the three colors right. And the first thing I always say is is your bed level? Do you have it in a corner or did you place it in the center? What did you do? Because that stuff, it happens all the time.
I know. I think a lot of that has to do with the laser more than the. I don't know. I feel like it depends on how bad it's off. That's a good question. I don't know that I've really experienced the.
That's what
actually, I'm gonna keep something that I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind because a bed being level. We always go to are your mirrors cleaned, or when was the last time you actually cleaned your laser? Is your alignment off? When was the last time you tried the alignment and stuff like that? That's usually
you gotta roll through stuff like that. Yeah. Simple things like just not cleaning your lens, especially when you're cutting with acrylic and things like that. The lenses get dirty so fast and it completely throws off the beam, it just gets
Your
scattered
airflow.
by
People
the
don't think about
tiniest.
airflow too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, that's all really important. So I would really like to try some of that. Do you hear ever from like customers like what kind of stuff that they're actually producing with the tri-layer?
Well, right now, like I said, the patches are crazy hot. The we have a lot of people doing signs with the Trilayer. You know, it's just
Yeah.
it, it's a material that, I mean, you're not, you kind of take some of the manual labor out of it, you know,
Definitely.
and so and you don't have to do the applique work, right, Matt? So
Applique. But you know what? Like honestly, one of the best things, I bought a 3 foot by, what's the biggest piece you can get? I think I got, it was either 2x1 or like 3x2 or something like that. I don't know. Like maybe I cut down a 4x2 into like 2, but I bought the yellow, black, and white, and so basically the thickest part was white on the bottom, and then it had the yellow and the black.
Yep.
And it was for a company that wanted signs. Basically, whenever they were going in and out of warehouses, this huge warehouse that's here in town, and they have like just lots of different places where you walk out into the loading dock, and they just wanted it like bright, like beware, look around you, be caught, you know, look what's happening, because there's people who are driving these huge forklifts. And they make paper, like that's the thing. So they're carrying rolls of paper that are the size of like a Buick, and they'll just crush you and kill you, and there's no chance, you're toast. So
Right.
they hired me to literally, they had signs that were a year old. And so this is where, like, when you're thinking about, like Aaron was saying, like finding companies you can work with where you just have a customer all the time, schools, factories, like basically the guy told me every year we need these redone. And so I bought like a sheet. I think it cost me like, what's the cost of like a normal sheet for you guys?
Oh, dude,
Yeah, I know, right? Like I don't have it
yeah.
on the top of my head either.
I'm
They
a,
didn't
I-
send us a
I'm
sales
not-
Supposed
guy.
to have a sheet
yeah, I know. I
with
was trying
me.
to say, dude, I should have. I
They're
fail
like 20
on my
bucks.
end.
So you're the guy. You're
Nah.
like us. You're the person who has their hands on it and plays with it all the time. You're good.
Yeah, I don't.
So like
I don't know
my,
how much I
my
cost.
thing was, though, the point I was trying to get across is I basically bought a sheet that was like this big, and I made all these little signs that went on their doors. There was no like having to do applique work. There was nothing. It was literally just cut, engrave, done. And yeah, I put some sticky stuff on the back so they could pop it on a wall. And I think I made like 10 signs that were like the size of your palm, you know, like a little bit bigger than your palm. And it's just money in the bank.
Yeah.
That's the whole point I'm getting at. It's super easy, super quick, money. And they were super happy about it. They were just like, oh, these look great. And every one of them were exactly the same. That's my favorite part, is just run 10 of them, done.
Yeah,
That's
gotta love
the.
the repeat.
Oh, go ahead,
customers,
Aaron.
bro.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. The repeat customers is the big thing. Like if you can get your repeat customers that is just you're their go-to. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's a signing, they know you can do it. And that repeat customer then talks to the next guy down the road. Hey, where do you get your signs from? You know, I got this guy always on time, does good work, and that's just how things start growing, man. It's just,
Whoa, wait, nobody said anything about on time. Let's calm down.
okay, my bad. One thing at a time.
Shipping is crazy right now.
Yeah, it is.
So if that's the trending item, then my next question would be, what should be the trending item? What do you think is underrated in the catalog right now that
That's a good question.
that should be rolling but isn't?
Was that on my list? Was that question on my
Oh
list?
no, that's I'm off the cuffing you
So
now. I'm
we're-
burned.
we're-
I've burned through the list. We're done.
Right, all right. Shit.
Yeah, we're in wilds
What-
now.
what-
It's just
should
us
be-
talking about people
Okay.
who make stuff. Let's go nuts.
That is a good question.
Well,
Opinions are okay. I don't need an official Johnson Plastics Plus answer. I want to know what Aaron thinks.
like my thing is, like, people call you and say, hey, what do I, you know, how do I work with this
Yeah.
stuff? Like, what's the thing you get called the most about, you know?
Okay, there's two separate questions here. So my first one, I think the really cool thing that we sell is sublimatable acrylic. I think that's really cool stuff, and because you can cut out whatever shape you want, and you can sublimate it. You know, in sublimation, color pops like crazy. It's pretty durable. It's long lasting. So that's one of my favorite things that we've brought on recently. That I think eventually is going to keep growing once people start seeing what they can do with it out there. I'm sorry, Matt. What was your question again?
So
What was
my
what was that question?
Yeah.
people
So
call
that
it.
was kind of what Alex is saying. Like, that's what's coming up. My thing is, like, what are people calling? Because you're like the hands-on guy. You're the person who
Yeah.
actually does stuff. What is it that people are calling you about the most currently? Like, what is the big thing that you hear all the time?
So our biggest question with our plastics that we sell is, it's, I would say 7 times out of 10, it's we're trying to laser engrave this and it looks like crap. And 9 times out of 10, it's you got to turn your air assist off when you're engraving. That's almost always the biggest thing. It's always and people don't know that, and it's okay, but like that's probably our biggest engraving question that we get is just like, and they'll send pictures and say, it's looking like crap and all this other stuff. We're like, you got air assist, can you turn it off or turn it way down? And yeah, and usually it fixes, and engraving from bottom up and all that fun stuff too. But usually that's probably our most popular or most common question.
9 out of 10 people watching the stream tonight were just like, got my answer. See ya.
Yeah, literally. We just cut you a week. We got you a week of vacation right
there.
Thanks.
Appreciate that.
Well, and then my next question too is like, how do people reach out to you? So you're on the success team. You're like, your whole job is to make people feel excited to use your products, right? Like they're like, yeah we did it. Yeah. So like, how do they get a hold of you? Because is this like a product they got to pay for like support, or do you guys just you're there? So
we offer free support. So and there's on our team there's 4 people that are on the team, then myself, so there's a total of 5. But what we have a couple different ways you can reach out. You can call in. It goes to our customer support, or not customer support people. And then what we prefer to do is we have off of our website we have where you can set up an appointment.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then it should find your time zone, should recognize what time zone you're in, and then it should set up an appointment what's best for you. The reason why I like it is because we work with a lot of small shops, and the way it used to be before, the way it used to be before is they would call in, they'd make a ticket, and then customers waiting there for 3 hours for us to call them, and they're just getting more and more upset because they're waiting. Whereas now you can make it, hey, I'm getting a call at 2 o'clock, I can go and do my work. I know I'm going to get, then I can stop at 2 o'clock to get my call, and not just sit there and stew over, waiting for a phone call. So,
for sure, because that's just money too that they're not making. So everybody's losing.
Exactly. But we have some hot ones sometimes where they'll call in and someone needs assistance right away. We try to accommodate that, but our department, we do all the testing. So anytime we're bringing in new items, we're testing them to make sure it's able to do what the vendor says it can do. We're testing new equipment. So we're always constantly doing stuff, so we're not always available right away, but we try to be
trying to answer the questions before you get them.
Yeah. And we started doing videos last year. We were
like
doing a video
videos.
a month. Yeah, so we've and we've gotten better as we've gone. We've gotten more comfortable being in front of the camera and stuff like that. So,
I'm just laughing because Laura.
At some point, you just stop giving a shit.
Yeah.
Right, that's not Laura. Beam It Up Laserworks just said, "Can I call and just talk about life stuff? I can't afford the copay for talk space."
Anthony was really sad he couldn't be here tonight. He had to drive home late, and he wanted to come on and chat, and he couldn't.
You better not be driving and texting this, Anthony.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he absolutely is, 100%.
We're there for everybody. We're there for everybody. So if they need to
like,
call
do I have to call? Do I have to buy like a $3,000 machine from you, or can I get like a $20 sheet of plastic and call?
Yep.
That's
actually, we work on. We have people call and they didn't even buy the equipment from us, and we still help them out. So we'll work on. Our view on it is if we can help you out, and there's a chance you can become a customer. So we try to do everything we can to help anybody out, and it doesn't matter if they bought the equipment from us or not.
Okay, hey, do my share screen real quick because I want to see like.
Yeah, throw you up.
Because like I literally did not know that you could just call and get that help. Because I mean, I usually we call it burn to learn. Where literally it's just like I'm gonna buy, if I have to make 10 of them, I'm gonna buy 20 worth the first time, just so I know they don't even have that stress. So test it with the machine. So if I'm on the website here. How do I find you?
So if you go up to, man, this is really small on my screen. I'm going to switch over real quick so I can see this.
Yeah, put us on the 77-inch you got on the wall, man.
No, it's not quite it. So if you go to contact us up there at the top.
Okay.
And then go to equipment, help and support.
All right.
And then see where it says schedule an appointment for assistant. Click here. Yeah.
That was really easy. Yeah. There it is.
And then so we have things broke down there. So if you're talking about a certain piece of equipment, you can be specific on that, and then if you're just doing products, you can select that too. So we have 2 different time slots. Install is usually an hour and a half. Support's usually 30 minutes. We yep. So you can go through there and pick whatever time works for you,
Wow.
and then it goes to one of our people on our support team, and they'll call you then when you
That
make
is
one.
incredible. I had no idea that was there.
That's what I'm
awesome.
saying. Like that's where we're the people who like to test stuff and just figure it out. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of people who, I mean, if you're a small business and you're starting off, like you don't have that luxury sometimes. So like,
Sometimes
or
they
you
don't
just
have the
don't-
time.
that's what I was gonna say. You
They
don't have
don't
the
have
time
that.
too. Like there's
Yeah.
some people where you're not a small business, you're like a medium-sized business, you're growing, and you really don't have the time to be like, if I change the frequency 25, you know, like, what is that
Yeah,
gonna do?
right.
Or maybe like you're engraving something and you bought like 4 of them, so you had like 2 extras.
Yeah,
And you've already gone through testing on the 2 that you had spare. You're
Yeah.
running out.
Yeah.
just
You
need a
guys
little
sell
hand.
you guys sell braille machines?
yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's wild. Are they super expensive?
The visions that it's a vision engraver that has, well, we sell a couple. So we sell there's a braille manual pen that you can manually put the beads in,
Mhm.
and then we also sell the machines that then so there's a couple different things that we sell there.
Yeah,
so.
see, this is like the whole ADA. That's a whole, like, you could have a
Dude, I always wanted to
podcast
get into that because
probably.
I feel like that's like a higher barrier to entry. So there would be way less competition. But every time I've looked at it, it's been like, I don't know if I could actually do this.
You would have to have like an ADA person who like
Yeah.
can do all the cutting and everything. Because like look at these signs, dude. Like
Yeah.
that's work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just like the one thing I can't do, you know, and I don't
Yeah.
like not being able to do it.
Yeah, I feel you.
Anyways, all right, but yeah, so this is the thing. Like this is where like if you haven't played with the website, go look. There's so much there. I was looking at the UV. I know we're getting off topic here a little bit from like lasers, but like, all right, the UV LED printer. This is where like my brain has been because I think like something just came out. Where is it? UV LED printers. Is that what it was?
Yeah, Epson just came out with a very
Look at that guy.
yeah.
This is the one I was looking at while you guys like when you first started. Because to me, if we're
Yeah.
talking about like where lasers are going and where clothes crosses over to, if you can get DTF stuff, like I mean DTF, and I feel like that's the way to go. What are your thoughts on that?
So with the UV, I mean, apparel wise, there's not much of an overlap with the UV, but the DTF there is. Now, like I love the UV with. Now, hold on a second. Why do they have pictures of a bag?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I was like, okay,
I might need. I think.
direct to film desktop printer.
Yeah. So, okay. So they do have the film that I honestly haven't done it on fabric before, but I'm sure it works. But I don't know if you've seen the UV.
Yeah, that's actually
DTF
what my hat
film.
is right here. The DTF.
Yeah, the DTF. So the UV DTF is more like stickers, like that you put on drinkware and stuff like that. I guess you could probably do it on fabric, but because we also sell the F1070, which is the DTG/DTF printer. So it's a little bit different, but
Yeah.
we've added so much equipment the last year.
Well, and that's where I was looking at this. The fact that it's a desktop. There's so many of us who are
Yeah.
small shops. Like I don't think I could fit anything bigger than something that's a desktop at this point.
So my favorite technology for me is UV because you can do some really cool stuff. You can cut out your acrylic sheets, whatever shape you want, and then you
Yeah.
can UV print on it, and you can do some killer stuff with it.
Now I know there's some confusion about this. The UV printing is a separate technology from sublimation. Those are separate things. Can you
Very.
talk about the differences? Why are those things different, and why it matters, and why you might want one over the other?
So sublimation is basically a dye. So basically, sublimation, the only thing that you can sublimate on is anything that's coated with polyester. So what happens with sublimation is sublimation starts out as a liquid. You print it, put it on a piece of paper, it dries, and then when it heats up, it turns into a gas. And then, so I'm getting geeky like you guys here, So
Yeah, that's what I want.
the pores in the polyester opens up, the gas goes into the pores, then when it cools down, it closes down, and then that's how you get sublimation. So it ends up you're dyeing. If you do a polyester shirt, that's why you don't feel the print, you feel the fabric, because
Right.
and it's and anything
Basically, like
with sublim
it binds with it, right? Like
it
it just
binds with it.
yeah.
Correct,
Hmm.
correct. So when you see stuff that's on like the tumblers or anything that's sublimated, you don't feel it. You just you feel the polyester coating, whereas UV it's printed on top of the substrate. So so you have to make sure that you have good adhesion. So with like for instance this UV printer, we spend months testing adhesion on this. We go through all of our plastics, we go through all of our stuff that's UV printable, and we go through this extensive scratch test to make sure the adhesion is right. And if it doesn't pass, then we say, this shouldn't be UV printed. It may stay on there, but if it's outside or if it's getting touched and handled, it may start flaking off. So, so that's the main two differences between the two.
Yeah, and the one thing too for sure that like is the price point, like the price barrier. So like and no matter what tool it is, you got to pay to play. And so
Yeah.
that was the one thing is like we've got the Epson SureColor F170, and it's like the price point to get in is so low. I mean, this is and like you're gonna get your return on your investment quick.
I mean, it's 10% of the cost of the UV printer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5%, right? Because 8,000.
Sure,
So,
yeah. I'll
but
give you
like
that.
so that's what I'm
5.
saying. It's even cheaper. But what I'm getting at is like my point with that is like you'll get your money back quick, especially with the acrylic, like he was talking about. Like so, you basically can do the same thing. It's a different process, and it's going to be a little more labor intensive, I guess, doing the sublimation of the acrylic, cutting it, doing the sublimation, printing. There's a few more steps, but for what you get, I mean, it's really a solid product, especially if you're thinking about Christmas ornaments and stuff like that, things that you cut out repetitively and do over and over and over again. That was
I'm
really
going to go ahead and make the assumption, too, that the sublimation printers are lower maintenance by like a wide margin.
Yeah. I will say that.
My next question.
Yeah. So Epson, these are entry level for the Epson with the Epson UV printer. So they've taken a lot of the maintenance out of it. Like, so when you get like the BD8, for instance, that was on there, which the roll-in printers colors are through the freaking roof, but you have more like it will ask you to do a manual cleaning almost every day. Like every time you go to use it, it's going to tell you to do a manual printing or cleaning. So the cleaning on it, and it's important. You have to do the cleaning, or you're going to get clogged print heads. You're going to get bad prints. What Epson did is they made it completely enclosed, so the elements are less likely to get in there. They don't have your conventional wiper. They don't have your conventional capping station for the print head. It's all kind of, they have this, hate to use this term, but it almost looks like toilet paper, where it kind of wipes the print head, and you don't need to work with it. It's not something that you have to print with every day like you should do with UV and DTF.
Right.
And they're making it so it's user friendly for the person that's going to get it and may not have the work for it right away to use it every day. And you're not gonna come in on a Thursday to go print it, and you're going to spend half your day trying to get the nozzles back. So
basically, if you're somebody like me and Alex and Kyle, who like you're saying maybe this is the way to go, the Epson SureColor.
Yeah, I think it's a great starter printer. It works. It's easy to use, easy to learn, and it prints really good. It prints good. Like we haven't had any complaints with it. So, and we're moving them like crazy.
And so that's what's really nice about that too, is the printing area is 8.5 by 11, basically, so like a sheet of paper. But that's where, like you said, you can put that on pretty much anything. If you're doing the film printing, like that's where like gang sheets is one of the things we had talked about in one of the episodes where we bought some gang sheets and stuff like that. But being able to just pull the trigger and print what you want when you want, instead of having to buy a whole bunch of stuff, have it overhead and have stock and storage, and like it's just a lot. So if you've got the ability to do that, that's pretty dope.
I don't know. You're the one housing the sublimation printer, so I'm jealous of that because I feel like I want to spend more time working with that, especially because Aaron listed it as his underrated. And now I feel like I'm, now I feel like I'm left out. I want to like experiment with that. Have you actually
So
done any of that
interesting.
acrylic, Matt?
So I don't think I got a sheet of the acrylic because it's a new product, like Aaron was saying. It's something, I got the printer, I think it was like 7 or 8 months ago. And the acrylic was something that Jackie was saying was coming in soon or
Right.
something like that, I believe. And so they were trying to figure out like, so to answer your question quickly, no.
Right.
But the thing is, like, I want to, because that's one of those things where I've also tried it. There are actually, because he was saying it's polyester based, right? So things that have like that poly, and it's also like poly blends. The problem is things come out like, instead of getting like that pop that you get when you have something that's got polyester on it, you get like a kind of like a muted color, like a faded color. And so
is it for sale right now, Aaron? It is. Okay, great. So I can just buy some. Then will probably do that.
But I will say, you did see the product. Remember that night we made? Actually, I think you were on vacation with Miranda, and we made like the trophy. Like we made a trophy for Miranda.
Yeah,
I remember
you did like the walling trophy, and I did a full wrap on that stream.
Yeah, and dude, it was the colors popped. Like I'm telling you, like so. And the other thing too, like so really quick, as far as sublimation supplies, let's see. You guys they actually have some really cool like Christmas ornaments and stuff that I've purchased, and they look really good. I mean, there's tons of stuff. Everything you need's here. It pours in. That's the nice thing about the Epson printer, by the way. It's an eco tank, so you just dump it in and you don't have to worry about it. And then the nice thing is, as long as you print something, what I've found is like every like week or week and a half, I'll kind of just print something small that has like colors in it. So like, this big, and just kind of print a few of them, and it's good. So like, here you go, right here. So the ink is way, way cheaper. So like a whole set is like $160, which the amount of product you can make with that is crazy for the $160. Just saying. And the nice thing,
Cheryl's in chat giving me shit about your pink heat press.
I like the pink heat press. It does the job that needed to, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I would take like a Geonite or something else. But I would make it pink. So, you know what, Aaron? You need to go back and watch the sublimation video and hear how Alex is so nice to you. What he told me when it was my turn to mess with it.
I have to go back and check that one out.
Yeah. Anyways, a whole lot of really cool stuff here, and that's one of the things. So basically, like, do you get a lot of questions about sublimation stuff, or is it more laser?
We sell a ton of sublimation stuff, so I would say a lot of our calls are, I would say the majority of them are sublimation, and then it kind of depends on what's going on, kind of like what holidays are coming up and stuff like that. Then the laser end of things is pretty up there too. So, but yeah, we get a lot of.
And the one nice thing is, like, the shop that I work with closely here in my town and actually like sell things through, like, they love colorful stuff. They want colorful stuff because that's what people pick up. That's what they put their hands on. And so when you can do stuff like that, and you can be creative, that's kind of like Nancy Richards was in here, and she said a couple times she's got the F170 and the 570, and she said she highly recommends it because every ink is pennies per print, right? And so that's where, if you can get creative and if you can be mindful of like what it is you're putting together, you can buy the same product, use it different times of years, and it's just like different parts of the year, and better bang for your buck. So, anywho,
I think if I've taken anything out of this conversation, it's that I want to sublimate onto laserable acrylic. I feel like and
then install Braille on it.
And then install Braille on it. That's right.
But then you know what you're going to need on top of that, though, Aaron? Applique.
Yeah, there you go.
I feel like up until I heard about this literally just now, I've been struggling to connect sublimation and laser into like one thing in my head, and that just makes like so much sense that is a product that exists now.
Well, and then like I will say too, if you are going to buy the sheets, the 570, what's the difference between the 170 and the 570? Like it's like a wider, larger, more industrial, or like what?
Yeah, so the 170 just does 8.5 by 11 to 8.5 by 14. The 570 does it can do cut sheets. It can do the 8.5 by 11, but it also does roll paper too. So it goes up to 24 inches wide.
See,
Roll
that's
paper.
the speed
So
of acrylic right there. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
If-
the 570 is a pretty popular printer as well. So
Does that mean it can do like basically indefinite length?
yes. Yep.
That's wild.
So the 570 comes with a rip. It's the Epson Edge print is basically what it's called, and so it's set up just like your wide format rips. So you can lay out your artwork, and if you want to do a 60-inch, stuff that's 60 inches long, yeah, you can do that with the 570.
Nice.
See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so to me, like, for you to do this stuff, because you actually have like a shop where people come in and want like crazy stuff. For me, I just tell people no a lot, and I'm okay with that. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
I've got
Good for
it's
you.
too much. Yeah, so like Alex, he's got Rhiannon, and Rhiannon's like a creative, cool person, and then I've got me and Bo Jackson and Bajingles. That's all I got right here. So they don't do much.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Kyle, do
yeah.
we have about 10 minutes left. Do we have any questions that we haven't inadvertently answered already in conversation?
Aaron's
Yeah,
been tackling them, man.
Just a
If
couple.
you guys have any questions for Aaron before we let him go, drop them in chat so that we can come around to them.
Processes,
Your time is
products.
closing. It's pretty standard here to get to the end of the show. Sometimes we'll go like 5 or 10 minutes over, and then as we're closing,
That's
we'll
what
get about
Questions.
50 questions. Yeah. So make sure, guys, questions in chat now if you have any for Aaron before we let him go for the night. Kyle, did you fish anything up?
Bunny Washer says, "Is there a difference with CO2 laser glass versus RF for Romark?"
Ooh, that's a good question.
Romark. I don't think so. I think we haven't come across any differences, so I think should be good. She's talking about like the sheets and stuff, right? I'm assuming with the two lasers.
Yeah,
Okay.
my guess would probably just be like maybe your line interval,
Mhm.
because the RF tube might have a smaller dot size.
Yeah, but with the material itself, no, yeah, it should be. And yeah, I don't know that I can say that yet, but okay, yeah, the material wise, it should be fine either way. So
I was gonna say, whenever I've used the Galvo for the, I love the Galvo for Omark. It's just pisses off the top layer in a second.
yeah,
You got to play with your frequency when you get some of the different colors. Is actually something I've noticed. So like, if you do have, like, if it's reflective a little bit, that might change something. I know that sounds weird, but for the CO2 with the RF and the fact that it's Galvo and the beam changes from what's it? My God, like I'm literally not like a steady beam. What's the word? Someone help me out who's smart.
Pulsed?
Yeah, there you go. The pulse, like I've noticed with the color, it can shift. So I've got different settings for like red and a couple of like the weird ones where like you would expect to kind of have issues with. Like red is always an issue.
blue's always an issue probably.
Yeah,
Like,
and so,
royal blue.
but that's the only thing I was gonna say that I've played with and noticed. But even then, it's like really super small tweaks, and then it's beautiful. Always comes across nice. So
Sweet. We got anything else, Kyle?
Yeah. Well, Resin said she just got her JPPlus order today and yesterday.
Awesome,
Luis?
awesome. Thank you.
Anthony said, "Did I miss the Ellie discount code?"
We didn't say it for whatever reason. Matt's even here and he missed it. It's
well, that's
why.
because you just jumped right in, man. You're like,
All right, go ahead. You do it.
yeah, it is YLR-ZDF. You can see that down in the description below. But remember, if you're watching this in the future, it might change. So always take a look down there to see if it has.
It really hasn't. Since the entire time that we've been.
Jackie's been
sponsored by
really cool
Johnson
about
Plastics
leaving that
Plus.
alone.
Just watch. next
Jackie
week.
has been cool about leaving that alone. Reminder, it gets you 15% off almost everything in the store. Almost everything. The only thing that's not included generally, and you could imagine this, is like the really big ticket items, like the
Equipment.
$9,000 UV printers we were looking at, because a 15% discount on that would be ridiculous. So, but almost everything in the store is covered by that, and it adds up really fast. Especially like I hate ordering like one thing from JPPlus. I get like I don't know, like 10 things minimum. It feels
Just to play
stupid
with.
to like. Yeah, you can't get like a sheet of
It's
Romark
like
in
when
the
you're
mail.
at checkout at the store and you're in like the impulse buy section of the
Well,
bed that's
right.
going by in
It's
front of
not
you.
even that, dude.
No,
I
it
just
is,
can't
though.
get one of those big custom because Johnson Plastics Plus always puts them in those big rectangle boxes.
Yeah.
And if you open that and you pull one sheet of Romark out of that,
These little
that's
guys, like these are the things that they get me with, because I'll be like, oh, it's a small enough piece. It's like $8. It's okay. And you just like, you're like $100. I'll get 12 of them. I'll play with the colors and see. And then you wind up with them, and you're like, it's good to have them because like the other day I needed to make a sign for an end of the year thing for a teacher gift, but it's like, damn it, you just end up getting them.
Our
my
marketing people are gonna love that.
my for real recommendation. Pause on the advertising for a second. My real recommendation, everybody watching this right now, is to order the Romark sample binder thing
Yeah.
with all the in it, because the website does a great job at being a website, and it just doesn't convey the texture and like just like fidelity
light
of those
reflects off of
materials. Yeah, the luster, right?
Yeah.
It just can't. It cannot like reproduce that in a way that really makes sense. It's $70, I think, which is fair for the amount of plastic you're getting, and all those
like,
little tiles
Jackie
get cut
told me
out.
They cut it themselves and put
They
it
cut
in
it
there.
themselves, dude.
Yeah.
And get one of those. They're so sick. My only thing is like I feel like I'm like missing pages now, so I might have to like get I might have to re-up that because it's been a couple years. But
Funny you say these sample kits. Which one is that? Like, where is that?
it's not a sample kit. It is like a binder. It's like a book that you can flip open, and then inside it's like rows watches that show you all of the flat stock material that Johnson Plastics Plus shows, and they're real engraved and cut samples of every single one. They're not swatches like at the paint store where it's just a color printed on a paper. They're actual physical pieces of every single one of their materials. It's so amazing, and I really recommend everybody get one
And
of
the other
those.
thing is, to be fair too, like the one, like I honestly wouldn't have thought that the wood one, like the wood grain gray one, has like texture that it has. Like it literally has texture to it. And you're like, oh, like it looks almost like a
The
printed
Romark
scroll.
Naturals. Is that what you're talking about? The Naturals? Dude, those are so sick.
It is wild.
Because people might like if they're doing something they're trying to make look like bamboo or oak or cherry or whatever, it will matter, you know, because then like just saying, like when people are paying for high quality signage, like
those are big ones. And then the you guys, I don't remember the line, but you guys sell like they're like translucent acrylics. They're not see-through, but they're like translucent acrylics. The colors are so like brilliant and clean, and just like you look at the website and it's just like a color, and it's like is transparent, you know. But
share my screen. I got it.
Okay, yeah. I don't see it up though. I can't click it.
Hold on. Here it is. For some reason I hit X.
Thank you. And of course, guys, I'll add links to everything we talked about to the description after.
Yeah, and this is the page. So this is the page if you were trying to come to it. So like if you look, all I did was type in I think it was like whatever I typed in. I don't even know. Let's see.
I think if you type in Swatch book.
Yeah, that's what it was. Swatch book. There you go. You guys are smart. You can read good. But yeah, so the nice thing is they literally have it by pages. So the nice thing is you can buy these per page, you know? So like it's got the different things in it. So this is if you just wanted the actual pieces here. So that's why I think total, like Alex was saying, it comes out to like $70. But if you weren't really ever going to sell the Laser Mark Reverse, all right, cool. Don't get it, you know? So I think that's even neat too that they've kind of left it. But the one you were talking about was the color hues. It looks like
it is the color hues. Yeah.
See, so that's one of those things. And these make awesome keychains. People love this stuff for like keychains. Just saying.
Yeah.
I really like the where was it? I just saw it. The laser lights. No, not the laser lights. That's the applique stuff, though. I think I was talking about before.
Yeah, there's Flexibrass and Flex Color. This is the stuff that I use a ton.
Yeah, that stuff's really nice too. But let me see the list again, Matt.
Yeah.
Do you use the Flexiblast on your trophies?
Yeah. So I use.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've used them. So this one has been really cool. Like if you look, you can't. My mouse isn't on there because if I move my mouse, it comes off. But the blue and gold, like there's so many schools and stuff like that that have blue and gold, and nobody has that I found but you guys.
Okay.
And then Bunny said, does the Romark stuff work with UV Galvo? Yes, it does. I've used it with the UV Galvo. CO2 Galvo is the best by far for me. It just, in seconds, it's done.
The UV works very, very, very well and much cleaner, but it is significantly slower.
Yeah. So, but I've had a lot of success with these. And then you guys have the ones that are for like outside too.
Oh, the laser glow, bro. Click that. That's what I was looking for.
There you go.
Dude, that shit is so sick. It's not even funny. It glows so bright. It's incredible. It's really cool. Sorry, I just wanted to get that out of my system.
I've made a crap ton of money with the outside.
Laser Max, bro.
Where is it? I can't see it.
Laser Max. It's right under the laser glow. They just click.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the black to white, I've made signs for a local charity. I think I've done like $10,000 worth of just that. So, awesome. And it's what's great is when I go visit the place, because I make the signs are like $50 a piece because like I think I do them for like 50 a piece. But there's a good return on it, and it also is one of those things where I started working with them 2 years ago because they've done it in pieces, and like they ordered like 3,000 the first time. You know, I think it's like 3,000 is what their usual number is. And the ones that I put out 2 years ago still look almost new, and it's in Florida heat, Florida hurricane. It's actually survived the last hurricane, Milton, that came through a year ago. So, I mean,
I have that right, Aaron. The Laser Max is like the hardcore stuff. That's yeah.
It's like really, really good for UV out in the sunlight is what I'm trying to say, and like weather resistance. So there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, get the Swatch book. It's super sick. If you don't buy anything else, just order us. Somebody's gonna murder me at JPPlus for making like a massive advertisement for this giant pain in the ass book. But it's such a game changer when you have it in front of you. And I just leave it on my counter, dude, and like people come in and flip through it themselves, you know, and like take a look at all the materials, and it just generates so much interest on its own. I think that's like the single best product on your website, and it's a total gateway drug for sure.
Awesome.
The other thing too is it gives your customers the feeling that they have way more choice than they probably thought they would too. Yeah. Because a lot of the time when they're walking into like, not to make it sound terrible, but like a basic bitch engraver on a corner somewhere, they're pretty much stuck with like what would essentially be flexi-brass, like single color, and that's all you get for an option. It's going to give you an edge if they can see that they have like 1,000 things they can pick from in a book.
Yeah, it's nice too because people are like, I need brass plaque in the shape of Popeye the Sailor Man, and I'm like, I can't do that, but I can get you some Romark. And they're like, what is that? Like, nobody knows what that is. So like having the book and them being able to like touch it and see it, it's I make so much money off of Romark. It's not even funny.
and seeing the colors too, because sometimes you know red, you know, they want a specific red or a specific blue, and it's good to be able to see the colors in person too, rather than on a screen.
Oh yeah, because then when you spend $100 on something and it gets there, and then they're like, that's not the red I want.
Right.
Yeah,
that was an awkward. That happened with me one time, and they were just like, "Oh, whatever, F it," and you're like,
"Cool."
Kyle, do we have anything lightning round related before we bail?
I don't know if we hit on Bunny Washer. Does the Romark stuff work on UV Galvo?
Yeah, we kind of touched on it really quick. Okay. It does. Again, it's slower than CO2 Galvo, but nicer. Like most things with the UV, slower but nicer.
That size.
Yeah. I think that's
it also works on the fiber to an extent, but it really depends on your material color at that point. When you're at 1064,
1,000%.
They have to. Some stuff is just going to do nothing and melt, and other things will come out brilliantly. So the fiber is a lot more hit and miss. But if you do have a UV, if you're lucky enough to have a UV, you can do some really, really nice stuff with the two. And I'm assuming the Trilayer would probably do really well on that too, just because you do have so much control of your output power with the UV, and that is something that needs more experimenting for sure.
Then there's depth of field too. But anyways, all right, that's the nerdy stuff.
Indeed. And was that it? Or we think we seem good? Oh, here we go. That is a good innovative plastics is I&I, right?
I think so. Yes. I'm not familiar with the only thing I'm familiar with is the Romark book. So
yeah. So I think Innovative Plastics is a company that you'll see tagged with like I&I throughout Johnson Plastics Plus website, and I think that's another plastic that you guys like resell. But I would stick with Romark if I had to make a recommendation off the top of my head.
It's also something that we all use and know. And so that's the thing. So when you ask, like, if you're talking to one of us or you're in the Discord or in the chat, or if you wanted to call Aaron and set up a schedule, because now you can actually do that.
Yeah.
They're all going to, but you do have to pick Aaron specifically, put that in your notes. Like that.
Yeah.
No one else will do.
There's some smarter people there than me. So we.
There went that week of vacation, dude. Sorry.
Yeah. Easy come, easy
Nobody's
go.
getting vacation when all these Swatch book orders come in. Everybody's gonna be
I see it right here.
Time.
It literally says Romark complete Swatch book, $73. The Romark laser Swatch book is $52. So you want the Romark complete Swatch book, $73.
Get the complete one. Yeah, that's the one you want. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. We're well over an hour at this point. Aaron, dude, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot about things that I want, which is not uncommon when talking about Johnson Plastics Plus things. But yeah, dude, your time is greatly appreciated.
Oh, thanks for having me. And I tell you what, you guys do a great job. And the fact that you guys are here to help customers and just having documents with settings and stuff. And like I said, I'll talk to Jackie. I mean, that helps everybody. It's not just us. It helps everybody. And I think we're all in here to, share the wealth and kind of help everybody be successful, and I appreciate all you guys do for sure.
Yeah, I think our industry is definitely a like rising tides raises all boats situation, where it's just like if JPPlus is making money, then I'm making money, and if I'm making money, like, then people like it's just literally all the way down. Like if one person at the top wants to succeed at the top of that food chain, like their best interest is for everyone below them to also be thriving, and it just makes sense. It makes good business sense. So that's
also, if you buy a new UV printer, you can actually print money. Legal thing.
Don't do that.
That's always that.
Is that we have to go now?
Where's Miranda in the chat? Yeah, that's a federal offense. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. We appreciate you coming out for the live episode. The edit will be out in a couple weeks. If you got value out of this one, and I don't know how you couldn't have, don't forget to smash the like button. Let everybody else know the content is good. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time we go live. Maybe the next time Aaron comes on. We can swing back around and chat again in the future. You're welcome back anytime. I'm sure if I tell Jackie that, she'll come up with a reason to have you by. Also, guys, if you want to support the show, there's a couple great ways to do that. The first of which is to go down into the description of this video and click the link that takes you to Johnson Plastics Plus. It's an affiliate link, so you help support the channel. When you shop with them, they would really like that. I'm sure we would really. It's no added cost to you. Just shop with our link, get the stuff that you need. The other great way to do so is to go sign up for the Laser Master Academy. It's been funding a ton of great stuff. Our new database is back online, db.lasereverything.net. If you haven't already checked that out, make sure you go check that out. The new apps are way better than the old ones, and it gives you access to everything you could possibly need to know about your machines. Absolutely free. You don't need a membership for that. But if you want to support that kind of stuff, head over to masters.lasereverything.net. It's the absolute best way to support the channel. And as usual, we wouldn't be able to do our jobs or make any of this content without your guys' continued support. So thank you to all of our supporters over at the LMA and Patreon for making this show possible. One last shout out to our sponsor, Johnson Plastics Plus. Aaron, again, thank you, man, for coming on. We appreciate you, and I think that's all I've got. So
Awesome.
Till the next one, guys. Take care, and we will see you later.
All right. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.